What is up, guys? Teddy Cornwell here. Welcome to the Underdog Talk, the world's most underrated podcast on earth. And before I even start, I got to say I'm a big Carolina fan, and we got the man in the building, the man who made history, Mr. Kris Jenkins. How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing good, man. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be on, man. We've been trying to get this done for a little minute.
Yes, sir. And hey, as a Carolina fan, I hate to see it, but man, I couldn't think of a better person to make that shot. And I'm a Carolina fan because I lived in Chapel Hill for a little bit, so But obviously, how's everything going? What's your role in Villanova basketball, if you mind me asking?
Yeah, so I'm not, I don't have a title, but so our alumni, we've always been super
Yeah.
involved, especially with everything that's going on. So with the new changing of the guard, some of us are just making sure that we're around and making sure things are going smoothly, the transition is smoothly. It was a tough time for the last regime, so we wanted to make sure that they got the respect that they deserve. And the new crop, Coach Willard and his staff that we have coming in, we want to make sure that we get them off on the right foot and everything is smooth and comfortable for them. So we're all super involved, not just myself. A lot of our basketball alumni are always super involved, and that's one of the unique, special things about Villanova basketball is the guys that have played here. They cherish it. It means a lot to them, and we continue to make sure that we uplift and uphold the program in such high regard.
And obviously, Villanova has that history, elite basketball program, one of, if not one of the best programs in the country. Now, going back to you, obviously you balled out in high school. Why pick Villanova? Why pick Villanova?
Yeah, man. I picked Villanova because I love the people
Hmm.
that I was going to be playing with. My teammates, I thought that they were extremely cool. I had knew some of them before I had even attended the university, so that was a big part. And then I knew the academics was extremely high level. I knew that basketball was everything, which was probably one of the top priorities for me to go to a basketball school so that I make sure that I get everything and all the resources that I need to be successful. And it wasn't too far from home. I grew up in the Maryland D.C. area, so it's about two and some change, maybe depending on who's driving. So it was just a good fit all the way around, man. It fit my personality. It fit what I was trying to do, the path that I was trying to take, and I just seemed to fit right in, man. I felt right at home.
Yeah, and obviously Jay Wright, a legendary coach. What was that like? Being a player for him.
Yeah, playing for Coach Wright was awesome, man. It was tough. He challenged you, but at the end of the day, man, we all wanted to be the best that we could be, and he wanted that for us. So he pushed us for that on and off the court. He made sure we all got our degrees, even guys that kind of left early. Kind of make sure that they still get their degrees and things of that nature. So he just is a great person overall, and I'm very appreciative of him giving me the opportunity to attend the university. And our relationship is strong and great, and yeah, man, that's my guy. We did a lot of great things together when we were in school.
And I don't know if you believe this, Chris, but I believe everything happens for a reason. You were meant to go to Villanova, and in 2016, you were meant to take that shot. And for those who don't know, it was probably one of the best buzzer beaters of all time. I mean, it was absolutely insane. Obviously, beating the Tar Heels. A few things. What was going through your mind before you took that final shot? I mean, what was that all like?
I mean, the only thing I was thinking about was just getting close enough to Art so that he could hear me because it's a lot going on. It could be loud, but when you're dialed in, the only thing you're focused on is winning. And we knew as a team we still had time to win the game, and nobody was down or upset. So the mindset was to win the game, which it had been since the first day of preseason. Win every game that we can. So nothing changed. It just happened to come down to dramatic fashion, and just the last second shot. But the mindset was the same, man. Kill and win the game.
Yeah. And I think we all, grow up in street ball, taking that shot, imagining it's going to happen to us. People dream of that moment, Chris. You lived it. How did that shot, kind of change your perspective on things, and how did it shape you as a person?
Yeah, man, that shot was just it was amazing. It changed all of our lives, obviously.
Yeah.
It helped a lot of people, the university. It just brought so much joy to everybody who was involved and even the fans, to share that moment with the fans, those who were there and those who watched, and just basketball fans in general. If you love sports, if you love competitive environments and moments, that's just pretty much what it was all about. And it pretty much didn't really shape my life. It just, I think it's a testament to our team.
Mhm.
We had a senior captain who was a 4-year starter, a 4-year Villanova basketball captain, who had the ball with the game on the line and trusted to do the right thing. And that was passed to the person that was open, no matter who it was. It just so happened to be me that time. So I think that says a lot more about our team and about Arch as a person. Anybody would have selfishly thought that was their moment, but Arch thought that it was our team moment and it was our team moment to win, and that means a lot.
100%. And overall, just a stacked team. And you could see that there was just overall chemistry with that Villanova team. You could see that it was a family. And I know you can agree on that. What part of that championship run doesn't get talked about enough, but was essential to the success of that win in 2016?
Dang, that's a really good question. Something that probably doesn't get talked about enough is just probably how well balanced we were as a team. We had a lot of scoring spaced out, and we had a lot of playmaking spaced out. We had a lot of Jalen was a freshman starting, Mikael was a redshirt freshman coming off the bench. Josh and myself were two first year new starters, so it was a lot of people that had a lot of new roles. So it was just everybody trying to find their way early on in the season, and then us just coming together and clicking at the right time. So I would just say things like that, but then also the play of Daniel Chefu.
Yep.
He might have been the most effective and the best big man throughout the whole our whole run. So his play definitely was a reason that we were able to win, and it probably doesn't get talked about enough. They talk about him mopping up the floor though, so he
Yeah.
gets some love for that.
Yeah, and obviously, looking back at it and looking at where you are now, obviously you're a leader to the young men at Villanova in terms of the men's basketball. If you could pass one lesson to the next generation of college athletes, Kris, what would that be? What would you say to the new group of guys coming in this year at Villanova basketball?
Oh man, the only thing that I would say to them is even with this whole all this NIL stuff going
Mhm.
on and you getting paid and bettering yourself, which it is awesome and great. It should have always been that way. So I'm extremely happy that these guys are able to capitalize and make a ton of money being employees of the university, because that's what they are. The only thing that I would tell them is, no matter if you're getting $5 or if you're getting $5 million, at the end of the day, it always comes down to the work.
Yeah.
um, and either way, whether you're working extremely hard or you're not working, the work is going to show either way.
Mhm.
So, just don't cheat the game, don't cheat the grind, and remember, at the end of the day, you're going to have to put the work in. So, you can never skip that part of it. So that's probably something that I would harp on. Is just it's about the work, it's about the journey, and never let nobody deter you from that.
I agree. And obviously, when you went there, NIL wasn't a thing fully yet. I agree with you. I think it should be a thing. Do you think it's hurting the sport of college basketball? We had Jay Billis on a while ago, and he was really kind of harping on it. I see both sides of it, but obviously, as an athlete, I see your side more. Do you think it's kind of changing the game negatively, where people can transfer to different schools and obviously the transfer portal?
Um, I mean, was it affecting the sport negatively when guys wanted to transfer and coaches would hold them hostage and wouldn't let them transfer, or or they had to sit out a year? Like, I just think it's crazy that when the players get a little bit of power, like people want to lose their minds or act insane,
Yeah.
as if the NCAA hasn't been fraudulent and doing things wrong for 200 plus years or however long it's been in existence. So it's just, I always find that just like alarming, or just it just raises my eyebrows. Like, as soon as the players, because I'm pretty sure if you had a kid, a son or a daughter, or anybody had a son or a daughter that was able to maximize and capitalize on their athletic ability and their talents like everybody else in the world, you would want them to get their full value.
Yeah.
So
No.
I just don't understand kind of the pushback. Maybe the pushback just comes from it being new change, and whenever there's new change, people tend to kind of like push back and don't understand. But just give it some time, and people will adjust and adapt, and this will be a new norm, and then something to come down along the line, and it'll change, and then that'll be the new norm. Like that's kind of just how these things work.
I think that was a great point you made, Kris. People don't like change, and oftentimes we're scared of change. And I think
Yeah,
you made a very solid point. People are just not ready for that change. But in X amount of years, it will be the new norm. It will be the thing. And obviously, it's just starting. It's so new. There's so much going on for it. Um,
yeah.
do you wish when you played college basketball, NIL was a thing?
Um, I mean, obviously, anybody would look
Yeah.
at, especially with the career that I had and the things that I was able to
Mhm.
do with the people and the teams that I was
Yeah.
on. Of course, it's easy to look back and be like, yeah, I wish we had NIL. But if I'm being honest with you, I don't know if our teams would have been the same if NIL was around.
Oh,
That's just the reality now. I'm not saying that um, any school or anything like that would have just been able to throw some money at you and guys would have left. But I mean, if you're making 100 grand here and they're offering you 2 million over there, I mean, anybody's gonna add that up and then make that decision.
yeah.
So it's kind of like a double-edged sword in that way. But I also will say, with the whole house case and it going back to 2016, 17, and my entire senior year, I will have the opportunity to regain, hopefully, a lot of my value that I wasn't even allowed to even try to explore.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Which we all know is wrong. So everybody can complain that NIL is this or that, but one thing everybody can agree on, hopefully, who has like some heart or any a mind or brain or anything, is that guys not making anything, doing some special things was completely wrong, and not even having the opportunity to even try to make money based off of your skill set is also even more egregious.
I, I see your point on that. And I also really like that point you made about obviously that 2016 Villanova basketball team. Would it be the same with NIL? Obviously, who knows? But I mean, that team was just the chemistry. It was just a family, and you could tell. Obviously, things could change in NIL. Who knows? Now, obviously, kind of post basketball. How has your definition of success changed, Kris? What is that all like for you now?
That's a good question, man. So my definition of success probably is still the same. It's just
Okay.
whatever I'm doing, being the best that I could be
That's
at it, and giving it my best foot, put my best foot forward, and just being proud of my product and whatever I put my mind to. So in this next phase of my career, doing broadcasting and announcing and doing, I have my own initiative and doing some entrepreneurial stuff, and then hopefully here in the next couple months or weeks or so working out something here with the university to do some things as well. So it's just I have a lot going on, but the mindset and success is also just the same. Just stay humble, stay hungry, and grind, man. Again, this is in a different way, but it's about the work. You can't cheat the work.
No, you can't cheat the work. And now this is the Underdog podcast, and you talk about, working in silence and doing your thing. And obviously it's worked for you. What has been an underdog moment in your life, Kris, where you kind of, the odds were stacked against you and you just did what you did? You worked hard and you ultimately overcame it. What would that one underdog moment be that you remember, Kris? It could be, it doesn't have to be basketball. It just could just be in life in general.
Oh man, that's a good question. So I mean, I'll keep it with the theme of what we've been talking about. My underdog moment was I mean, just our entire run, our entire year, my entire college career. You know what I mean? I was so here at Villanova, we play four out, one in, so we like four guards, one big for the most part. So um, going into each matchup or going into a lot of matchups, I would be considered kind of the mismatch or the smaller guy guarding their bigger forward or whatever have you in that scenario. So leading into our national championship game, we're playing North Carolina. They're always going to have two bigs, and Arch is around the same height as Marcus Page, and Jalen's probably taller than Joel Berry, and Josh and Justin Jackson are the same height, and Daniel Chefu's 7 feet. So if you're watching the pregame shows and they're talking about the team is too small, they're only talking about one guy.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? So for me to just hear all that, obviously that added fuel to my fire because I'm thinking, well, I got a way better chance of guarding them than they do of guarding me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So
Wow.
um, that would be kind of my underdog moment, just always having that belief in myself and then just never giving up, never looking at someone's height or someone's size, just always believing in my skill set and what the hard work that I put in, the preparation.
Yeah, and those people who said that you obviously had the last laugh in it. That must feel really good, obviously for you and for the team. What was it like winning the national championship? Obviously, Villanova is such a historic, storied program, but getting that ship back to Villanova, I mean, what was the atmosphere like? Obviously, after and just during the whole process of it all.
Yeah, man, it meant a lot to us, especially because that was Arch and Daniel's senior year, and we felt like they had given so much to the program. So, up until that point, we had kind of some slips and falls in the NCAA tournament. But like I said, we had a lot of new guys and new roles, so we felt like this is kind of like our first real try at certain things. So obviously, the atmosphere was amazing. It was incredible. Before the game, we were down. Obviously, the game was in Houston, so the whole being down in Texas is an amazing atmosphere. And then winning down there, it was just second to none. And then catching the flight back and doing all the media stuff and having to go to the stadium, and then it was just a lot going on. And then you also have your White House tours. You go to Harrisburg. You do like there's just so much stuff. You go to the ESPYS. There's a lot that goes into it, and you're just reminded that it took a lot of hard work and dedication to even be able to do these things. And if you can sacrifice and be a part of something bigger than just your name or something that you can do, who's to tell what can come in the future?
Yeah. And I don't think people realize how hard it is to win a national championship, especially against, a elite program like UNC. I think, what is it, 6 games you have to win to become the champion? I mean,
Yep.
and these are all D1 programs. These are all the best of the best. No matter what seed, it's March Madness. Anything can happen. So to be able to just work as a team and just win, I mean, that says a lot about you. That says a lot about the team, and obviously just a great group of guys. Now, if you could go back and tell yourself one thing going into Villanova freshman year, what would that be, Kris?
If I could tell myself one thing, is just never let your confidence waver, but more importantly, just grind.
Yeah,
You know, everybody when they get to college, they expect it to be like their Cooper Flag or their Zion or someone like that, and that's just not the case. That's a small percentage who get to experience college like that. So for the rest of us, we got to grind and get it out the mud. So that would be probably my biggest advice going into college is, man, just grind it out.
yeah. And obviously, speaking of this national championship, and I love that grind and work hard. Speaking of this national championship, I mean, Florida wins, and you mentioned Cooper Flag. Who was your pick to win this national championship this year? Was it Duke? If you mind me
Uh,
asking.
I mean, I definitely had Florida and Duke in my final, but I kind of flip flop kind of throughout everything, like who would win, just because I thought it was such a great matchup. So, but Florida, man, they came to play. They brought every game, no matter if they were down 12 or up 8. And yeah, I think in Duke's game in the Final Four, you can see their youth get to them a little bit. Just little things to get a little bit more frantic and hectic. Refs let you play a lot more in those situations. So and that's where being a freshman for a lot of those guys being young, kind of just didn't help them. But I mean, Cooper Flag had a heck of a year, man. He was the best player in college basketball, and he led his Duke team as far as he could. But that's what I'm saying. Most gentlemen think that they're gonna go in college, and because they were the man wherever they were, that they're gonna walk in and it's gonna be all peaches and cream and ice cream and sunshine and roses. And at the end of the day, especially now with NIL involved, it's more so a job. It's always been a job, but the coaches are treating it like a job more so now, as opposed to back then where they're like, all right, well, it's just a scholarship. We can bring him along and teach him. Now it's like, well, I'm bringing this guy in and I'm paying him a salary basically for the season. I mean, if he's not performing, like we're gonna have to make something happen.
Yeah, 100%.
So, that's just kind of how it is.
Yeah. And speaking of Cooper Flag, as someone who knows ball very well, Kris, do you think his game will translate to the NBA?
No, absolutely. I think his game will translate to the NBA because one thing people tend to forget is he was technically supposed to be a senior in high school, so he's extremely young. So the room for improvement is tremendous. So with his work ethic, with his mindset, with his attitude, if he continues to keep that and moves forward, I can definitely see him being a generational talent, skill set in the NBA. I don't see why it wouldn't translate other than obviously injury. Nobody can control that. But outside of if we remove injury from the equation, the only thing that can kind of stop him from reaching his maximum potential would be his work ethic and grind and stuff. You know what I mean?
It would be him ultimately, is what you're saying, and I do agree
Right.
on that. Now, speaking of the NBA, who to you is the best player in the NBA right now? As someone who watches it, obviously you have some teammates who are in the NBA who are pretty darn good. Are you
Man.
still saying it's a LeBron James is the best player in the NBA, or do you have a Luca? Do you have? I mean, who do you have? Jokic?
Man,
Who's?
Jalen Brunson for sure, man.
Yes, sir. I
Yeah,
like that.
yeah, like what we talking about, man? Speaking of an underdog, that's one for you right there. National Player of the Year, every All American award, first team All American, get drafted in the second round somehow. We don't know how. I guess all these GMs know what they. I guess they know apparently. Um, Obviously not in Dallas. Their GM is pretty. You know what I mean? We not gonna say too much about that,
Yeah.
but yeah, man, that's an underdog moment story for you guys right there. Imagine being a national player of the year, running through college, winning that two national championships in 3 years and things of that. And then you get drafted in the second round. You see all these guys get drafted in front of you who aren't better than you. And then you keep the hard working mindset, the grind mindset, that underdog mentality. And then you work your way up to a supermax contract twice with the New York Knicks. You know what I mean? So how could I not pick my guy, man? He's for sure the best because they were saying he was this, he was too slow, he was that, he was this. So I can only imagine if he was, I guess, supposedly the same as these other guys, what it would really be like for them.
Yeah. And I agree, and that's why I said you have some pretty damn good teammates in the
Yeah.
NBA, and obviously Josh Hart's a baller, and obviously so many other guys.
Junkyard dog right there, man. JYD.
Yeah, and I mean the fact that they're playing together, I mean that's got to be pretty damn
And my
cool.
man Kills, Mikael Bridges, man. He out
Yes,
there too, hold it
all three
down.
of them, all three of them, and back to Brunson, a baller, no doubt about that. What was Jalen like to play with in college? Obviously he's a superstar. What was that like to be a teammate of his?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's about the work and the grind and the mindset, and that's what he had coming in as a young freshman, and that's what made him so unique and special, and that's why he was able to come in and start as a freshman. It's just not about your skill set when you come to Villanova because we're all good. Everybody's good here. Everybody believes they're going to make it to the NBA and play professionally here at Villanova when you come. So to be around Jalen, man, was just dedicated, hard working, humble. He was a great person to be around off the court, great with his family. But you knew basketball was serious to him, just like it was to all of us. And that's the environment that we created, and he fit right in.
Yeah. Now, where do you see college basketball going? Obviously, we talked about the NIL. Do you see it going in the right way? Do you see it going in the right direction as of right now, Chris?
Yeah, I definitely do. I honestly don't see a problem with college basketball. I mean, people will be upset at transfers and stuff, but there were always transfers. Like
Yeah.
transfers just didn't start happening yesterday.
Yeah.
So I just want to know why everybody's so alarmed that people can transfer or people can hop into a system where they can learn or dictate their market value. Like again, we live in America, bro. Like I don't understand what people are missing here. We live in America where you work, you get fully compensated.
I
I
agree.
don't understand. Like I wish some of these other people would go to their job, not get a salary, but just get health care, just get dental, just get that, and then they're told, hey, you better just be thankful and grateful. And oh, and also you can't make any money doing anything else.
Yeah.
Like it sounds ridiculous.
And I think a lot of the people who are speaking on that are not in the athlete's shoes. They're
Right.
not a collegiate athlete who's putting their blood, sweat, and tears on that field, that court, whatever it may be, every day, and living that sport to the fullest. So I 100% agree on that. Now a few more questions for you, Chris, and I got to ask this one. What is your favorite thing people yell at you when they recognize you in public?
Big Smooth.
Hey!
That's probably
I like that.
one of my that's probably like the biggest drink that I get if somebody see me or recognize me. It's like Big Smooth. Or they'll be like, Hey, you was the, did you were you the guy that made that shot against North Carolina? Like I get that too. So those are probably like the top two if like somebody recognizes me.
Yeah. And then what would surprise people about who you are off the court, Chris? Obviously, you mentioned hard worker. You mentioned you're a grinder, and that's simply what it is. But what's something that would surprise people about you off the court?
That I'm a big time NFL fan, man. Like
Really?
I've spent a good bit of my time, obviously on Sundays. Um, so when I was young, obviously you would have games or practice or anything of that nature, church. So anything like that would trump, obviously watching football. But if I didn't have anything like that going on Sunday, I'm staying in the house and I'm watching all the games, man. I'm locked in. I'm cheering for my birds. I'm going to tailgates. I'm going to Eagles games. I went to the Super Bowl this year in New Orleans. Had a chance to watch us spank the Chiefs live in person. So just it's something about me that most people might not know, or is that yeah, I'm a big time Eagles fan, NFL fan, and I hurt dearly when football season is over, NFL season is over.
Honestly, that is I'm not saying surprising because NFL, yeah, but you would think the NBA, you think that'd be your thing, but I mean, and I see why you're an Eagles fan. Obviously, that makes
Yeah.
sense. Now, do you think you guys are going to run it back next year?
I think we have an opportunity to, but so much has to go right, bro. You got to stay healthy. You made it all the way through this season. With very few injuries.
Mhm.
So that's pretty much what it comes down to, man. Who's the healthiest? Who's playing the best? So I think we have a good chance, just like everybody else who's supposed to be a contender. You throw us right in the mix.
Now, this is a question that I'm actually interested to hear your answer. Where would you rank Jalen Hurts in the quarterbacks currently? Would you put him in top five?
That's a good question.
Because I could see both sides, to be perfectly honest with you, why he could be in the top five and why he'd be out of the top five.
I mean, obviously he's gonna be in my top
Yeah.
five, but a lot of these guys, like their argument is normally like, well, he has this and he has that, and then my argument back to them, well, if Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen is what you guys are telling me he is, why does he need the same thing as Jalen Hurts?
Yeah.
If they need the same thing as Jalen Hurts to be successful in the postseason, then they're the same tier player.
Yeah. That's
They're
true.
they're the same tier. So he's definitely in my top five because it's more than just being able to throw the ball far and do things like that. Like winning matters, how you lead your team matters, how you play in crunch time matters because a lot of these quarterbacks they fold when the pressure's on,
Yeah.
and we see Lamar Jackson do it every postseason. Like he's great in the regular season, like he's all time great in the regular season, like something we've never seen before in the regular season. And then we get in the postseason, and he's like the worst quarterback of the season, and it's like, geez.
Yeah. No, I agree on that. And I think Lamar's a phenomenal guy. I've never talked to him, but truly one of one. But yeah, he's had the postseason struggles, and that is where I agree with Hurts. I can see the argument. He's a leader. He's a
Yeah,
leader, and Joe Burrow has, I'd say, equally as more talent or more talented, wide receiver core, and he hasn't won a Super Bowl yet. So I definitely like that point on Hurts, and I see that argument on that. Now, my final question for you is: if someone made a movie about your life, Chris, who would play you, and then what's the title?
oh man, that's I don't know, man. That's a good question. I'm trying to see who would play me. I don't know. I guess it would have to. I gotta pick somebody that's like known and stuff, right? So it got to be somebody like Forrest Whitaker or somebody like
Oh,
that would probably play me.
good one. That's a really good one. A great actor, obviously.
And the title. Let's see what the title would be. I guess it would have to be something around the shot or like
Yeah,
winning shots or something like that. Moments or something like it'd have to be something in that area. Um,
I think it could just be called The Shot. The
well,
Shot.
yeah, it could
That's
exactly. It could be
pretty
just be
tough.
called the shot.
That's pretty
It
tough.
could
The
it
Shot.
could it
I
could be
like
just be called the shot. Yeah.
I like. I would watch it, Chris. To be perfectly honest with you, I would go
Who
to the.
knows? Maybe in the future after my lawsuit and then all this other stuff fiddles itself out. Who knows? Maybe we could try to work on like, maybe like a Netflix movie deal or,
Wow.
maybe writing a book or something like that because my story is definitely unique. I definitely don't like to say it was weird or different. I just like to say it was just unique. It was under unique circumstances. Most people don't know that my guardian family, my brother played on that North Carolina team, who I grew up with and lived with since I was like 10 or 11. So, like I said, it's just so much that goes into my story. So I definitely could see it being something once, like I said, once all this lawsuit stuff and all those things wrap up.
No, I love that idea about the book. Honestly,
Yeah.
I think that'd be a really incredible book. I mean, again, the hard work, the resiliency you've shown in your life, and obviously just your grind and your motivation. I think that'd be an amazing book. Now, before we go, the floor is yours. Obviously, I know you're working on a few things. What's that all like, and where can we find you?
Yeah, man. So this year was my first year doing broadcasting for college basketball for FS1. So I'm definitely looking to pursue that and move forward with a career with whomever, multiple networks. I don't see myself just being penciled in with just one network. I want to give myself some flexibility and some freedom to grow my relationships and my value and things of that nature. So I definitely see myself continuing to grow and build that. I definitely see me continuing to grow and build my initiative and get out here and continue to educate the youth on just the college sports
Yeah,
climate, man, and how competitive it's getting and just how you have to continue to stay focused and dedicated to not only being the best that you are in your field, on the field or the court, but also you have to go to class and be a great human being as well, because that has just as much value as the game.
yeah.
But right now, pretty much what's going on with me as well is obviously everyone knows that I'm suing the NCAA and the major conferences, um, and I just feel like we all watched the tournament this year, and I'm pretty sure you guys all saw me pop across your screens a couple times,
Hmm.
and I've never been compensated for that in any way in any of the years post uh, since NIL became a thing or anything. So we all know that here in America, that's not how things work. Unlawful rules and regulations were put in place that everybody knows was wrong, and now it's just time for them to right those wrongs. And I'm just going to get my just due, and I'll have my day.
100%. Now, what's your social media? Do you have Twitter? Do you have what's that all like?
Yeah, my Twitter is smooth to you
Okay.
underscore, and then on Instagram is obviously Kris Jenkins, and then underscore two. So though that's my Instagram, and then my Twitter is smooth to you. So if you want to follow me on socials, that's where I'm gonna be, man. Show me some love.
And first, we'll say 10 people to follow Chris on Instagram. Send us a screenshot. We'll get you something special out
Yeah.
to you as well. Stay tuned on this man because I'm hoping a book comes out sooner than later. I really am. And once you get that book, let me know. We'll send it to the whole world because I think it would be a really damn good book, man. So and that movie, The Shot. When if you ever get that going, let me know as well on that. But ladies and gentlemen, Kris Jenkins, the man, the myth, the legend. Please don't forget to follow him on Twitter, on Instagram. All those links will be in the bio. And make sure you go watch that buzzer beater. It'll change your life, as they say. And
Right.
one more time, Kris Jenkins, guys, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe on this. Until next time, Underdog.